And welcome to the Joel Comm Show. I would be he. This guy over here, whether you're looking to the left or the right, is not he. That's a different guy, and he is my special guest for today. His name is Brian Rose. And who is he? Well, he's an expert in the art of self-promotion, likes to talk about himself. He's also the co-founder of Jvzoo.com, one of the premier affiliate networks on the web that in about 3 years has already processed close to $150 million. And he teaches students, thousands of them all over the world, how to grow an online following. His book, Millionaire Within, is getting ready to come out. It's the first of 2 books that he's releasing this year with Morgan James Publishing, of which I am a fan. Welcome, EBR.
Hello. Great to be here on the Joel Comm Show.
and it's great to be had, as many people. So welcome to your first Blab as well.
It is my first Blab. In fact, I've heard of Blab, but I haven't really blabbed anything or seen any blabs up until just recently when you turned me on to it. A couple of people asked me last week, do you blab? And I said, I blab all the time. What are you talking about? Blabbermouth. But apparently they meant this.
So I'm assuming that those of us who use Blab are then blabbers or blabberers or something. And one of the fun little things that you can see here is, see the hands down at the bottom right? You can give people feels by clicking on the screen. See, I'm feeling you right now in a very inoffensive way. Did you feel it?
I'm going to adjust my seat so that we're at eye level.
So, you brand yourself as an internet pioneer because you've been doing this stuff for a few years.
A couple.
I don't want to cover your whole bio. You go, all typical interviews do that. I want to make this a little bit more fun than just rehashing the past. But so what I want to do is I want to jump right into this book that you've got coming out. The
Millionaire book that rehashes the past.
The book that rehashed, that's the one. And I want to pull out just a couple really colorful stories from before, sure. And in particular, your time in the poker industry. Like, set the Wayback Machine to what year?
I would say 2002 is when it got started.
Okay. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. I am a gambler at heart, always have been. I got stationed in Biloxi, Mississippi when I joined the military. But what's in Biloxi? I had no idea. It was the most boring place ever. However, right before I got there, something magical happened, and they allowed gambling. So the casinos were built about, I guess, within a month or so of me actually being in town. I guess they did it for me. I don't know. And I discovered poker. And I absolutely love poker. We played kitchen table poker when I was a kid quite a bit. But I discovered, real casino poker and fell in love with it. Absolutely loved the game. Played it a lot while I was in the military and after the military. Then when I fast forward a few years, I'm out of the military and I'm starting to do some work online. And I have a background in television production. I have a background in journalism, and I wanted to kind of combine all of my loves into a business. And I thought, how can I do that? And I had an idea. How about I create an online poker TV show? And it seemed like a great idea, but the problem was it was a bit early. It was before bandwidth was cheap. Bandwidth was very expensive.
We're talking a web TV show, not a network TV show.
Right. It was going to be an online TV show that I was going to produce, but bandwidth was really, really expensive back then. So I settled for a magazine. Funny story how I became a magazine publisher. Basically, I was reading the only poker magazine in existence, sitting in the poker room one day, and I saw this magazine's horrible. And I thought maybe I could do a better one, but I've never published any type of magazine in my life. So I went down to Office Depot that day, and I went to their software aisle, which was more like a software section because there wasn't much software out those back then. And I found this Microsoft Publisher box, and I thought, this seems like it can do the job. So I went home, and it was surprisingly easy to use. And within a few days, I had some writers that were on board that were going to give me content for free and in exchange for small advertising. I then went to all the online poker sites, and online poker wasn't that huge at the time. It was just starting out. So it was kind of easy to get them to give me some money. You know, I was saying that I was launching this new magazine, and I didn't know how big it was going to get, but the more money I got, the bigger I could make it. So I focused on sponsors, and I got them all to sponsor with me, on a trial basis for the first issue. And I put this issue of the magazine together, and I was like, this is amazing. So people didn't really recognize me as an authority figure in the poker world. And that was a problem. I needed to be recognized as an authority figure. I had the website up, I had a chat forum up, and I was just trying to drive traffic to it. And the magazine just wasn't enough. I needed some star quality to myself to bring the people in. So I decided to kind of invent the association factor. I'm sure I didn't invent it, but I invented the term. So the association factor.
DAF.
Of expert fame. And basically what that means is find somebody that's famous in the field that you want to be famous in and stick to them like glue. And that's what I did. This was before the poker. So you
became a stalker.
Exactly. No, well, I don't mean to stalker. Here's what I did. I went and found Daniel Negreanu. Daniel Negreanu was a young kid who had just won a World Series bracelet. He was Canadian. Who lived in Vegas, and he was just starting to become like a famous poker player within the poker world. This was before the televised boom and the online boom. So I approached him. I found his phone number, and they were all easy to get back then. Somebody knew somebody who knew somebody. And I asked him, hey, do you want to do an Ask Daniel section of the chat forum on my website? And he said, yeah, sounds like fun. So basically, you could go into the chat forum and ask Daniel Negreanu questions. Now, that's Daniel Negreanu. That's right. So in the poker world, that was huge. You know, all these budding poker players wanted a chance to talk to, one of the few celebrities of the game. So I started getting tens of thousands of views to the website, and people started subscribing to the magazine. I also distributed the magazine for free in some of the local poker rooms and eventually out in Vegas. But the traffic to my site when word got out that Daniel Negreanu was there was huge.
Because he's Canadian.
What's that?
Because he's Canadian.
Yes, because everybody wants to hang out with a Canadian. That's right. So because he said a boot. Then when I actually had the budget to say, you know what, I'm going to do the online TV thing. It was a couple of years later, and the bandwidth started to come down in price, and I was able to do it. We produced a show called Poker Updates, which was like the Entertainment Tonight of the poker world. And I hired a couple of guys, and we went around the world with the World Poker Tour and the World Series of Poker, and they gave us access to everything. And it was awesome. It was phenomenal. We were right there with the beginning of the big boom. So all the Hollywood celebrities were getting involved, and we started leveraging all the celebrities that were in town for poker and putting them in a seat saying, hey, can we have 5-minute interview with you? And I mean, we got Ben Affleck, we got Paris Hilton, Shannon Elizabeth, Jennifer Tilly was a regular on the show. And of course, Daniel came with us and did the Ask Daniel corner. It was called Daniel's Corner on the TV show. And he would give his weekly tips on the TV show. And then at one point, we had 8 million viewers a week that were watching the show. And you say, wow, you must have been making a fortune. Well, no, because I was stupid. I was ignorant. I was uneducated in the ways of internet marketing back then.
Right.
And I didn't know how to take advantage of the traffic that I was getting. I was taking advantage of it by just getting sponsors to sign up, to pay me money for commercials. And I thought, hey, this is great. People are giving me money and I'm producing a show, and I got a little bit left over at the end after all travel expenses and paying everybody. Gosh, if I knew now or then what I know now, I would have had one of the world's biggest lists of online poker players. I would have been a multi-millionaire back then from just affiliate commissions that I could have made from the affiliate sites, and just so many things that I could have done and should have done differently. But I just, didn't have the know-how. And that's what I like to instill in people now when they come to me with a great idea. I like to make sure they know the basics: how to capture the lead, how to contact the lead, how to profit from the lead. These are the basics of internet marketing. Then these are things that I didn't know, and I left tens of millions of dollars on the table during that time.
The good news is you learned from it, and you're learning how to scoop up those millions now because you've got a very successful affiliate network. I remember, was it 3 years ago that you started?
Just over 3 years ago, yes.
3 years ago, I remember hearing about Jvzoo and having been in affiliate marketing forever since Amazon launched their associate program in 1996. I've done a lot of affiliate marketing, and of course I used ClickBank quite a bit for information products. And you saw a need in the info product networks that wasn't being met, and you said, well, I guess I'll just, long story short, I'll launch it myself. And you got yourself a programmer and another business partner, and the three of you together launched this thing. And the story I want you to tell is about how you launched Jvzoo.
Sure. Well, when I first came up with the idea for Jvzoo and I started listing, I started with a list of features that I wanted to add to existing platforms. You know, there were existing platforms that I was using, and I went to the owners of these and I suggested them. And, you know, I was just like told, yeah, we're good where we're at. So that's when I started thinking, hey, maybe I can put this thing together. I searched for programmers, couldn't find anybody that was affordable, that made sense. I needed somebody in the internet marketing industry that was going to partner with me. I was doing business with Brian Zimmerman at the time, and finally mentioned it to him. He was the first person I ever mentioned it to, and he threw out the name Chad Castleman. We got him on a three-way call, and the rest is history. So, you know, we put our, you know, three minds together and formulated the plan and launched Jvzoo. How we launched it, you're asking? Well, I like to launch things with a bang, I guess you could call it. So I guess you can say we launched with controversy. We needed to do something.
And let me stop you for a second, because I want you guys to really pay attention to this. This is what he's about to share is a key to getting attention in a very noisy world, and a brilliant case study of how to launch something big when you're really starting with a small budget and a little more than a dream. And just so you know, after a little bit, we're going to open up the seats here so that you guys can hop on and ask questions.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. So we needed to launch and get our name out there. So we kind of did a 2-punch launch. The first one was we wanted to launch with controversy. We wanted the first product that we launched on the site to be controversial. So I had been making notes and learning a little bit about the GPL, the General Public License. And I saw that it was such a heated topic online where some people were arguing, saying, no, the GPL does not give you a license to steal. And the other people were saying, no, yes, the GPL says you can use anything you want. Basically, the GPL is a license that some programmers put on their software. And if you go to Google the General Public License, you can read it. And basically, if you get your hands on a GPL licensed software, whether you purchased it or somebody gave it to you, it basically gives you the rights to almost distribute it in any fashion that you want to, whether you resell it, whether you give it to somebody as a gift. And I wrote a 10-page report just saying, breaking down each section of the GPL, saying, this is what this license gives you the opportunity to do. Now, to make it a little bit more controversial, I went out and bought some premium themes that were all about $40, $50 each, that if you had to buy them. But I bought only themes that were licensed under the GPL, and I gave them away absolutely free as a bonus for buying this 10-page report. And this made people go, whoa, this guy's like stealing. He's going to get sued and all that. And they were the do-gooders that wanted to turn me in so badly. And they reported me to all of the vendors where I bought it from. And they're like, yeah, we can't do anything about it. We're GPL licensed. And it was sold on the Warrior Forum, and the thread was dozens of pages deep of, half the people on my side, half the people calling me a crazy person for, and then there's a small portion of the people going, man, you're letting the cat out of the bag. I've been profiting off this for years. So that was the first step, launch with controversy. And, we watched the affiliates move in. We watched the vendors. We watched all kinds of people start throwing products up there. This is with $0 advertising. Now, the next thing that we did is the Warrior Forum event was happening. The live event was happening in Raleigh, North Carolina. and we said, hey, you know what? Let's throw a party at the Warrior event. And so we threw a party. There were about 200 people, maybe 220 people at this event. So not huge. We're not going to make a huge impact off of 220 people. Sure, we want them as customers, but we really wanted to go after the reach. What can these 220 people do for us? How can we leverage them and maybe their friends and get them to promote our site for us? So what we did is, before you could get into the party, we set up a red carpet. We had some pretty girls dressed in like zoo-like outfits and animal outfits, to go with the zoo theme of Jvzoo. And we had what's called a step and repeat sign. And you see them at the Oscars, you see them at the Emmys, you see them at any press conference where the celebrities are taking pictures, and you have the wall behind them that has all the logos of the sponsors or the name of the event that they're at. And that's called a step and repeat, where it was the Jvzoo logo over and over and over again. So no matter where you are in the picture, you're going to see Jvzoo logos. We made everybody take a picture before they entered this party. Now, we had a budget of about $2,500 to spend on free booze. And we did. The carpet looked like this cheap red carpet that was sitting there, but it had, we had the shiny barriers. But on camera, it looked amazing. So we took about 200 pictures plus a bunch of group shots, and we got everybody's name and everybody's Facebook address, and we friended and tagged every single person that was at that party. So what happened was it showed up in the news feeds of all of their friends. And all of a sudden it looked like this extravagant red carpet affair that they were at. So the perception was that, wow, Jvzoo must be this huge company with huge money. And if they're able to throw such a lavish party like this, but really the party was about maybe in a room twice the size of this. Everybody was hot and sweaty. And I mean, we had a good time, and everybody there had a good time, and the drinks were free. Up to $2,500 worth of drinks were free because that was our budget. But on Facebook, it looked larger than life. And we attributed throwing these two parties that we threw to the first 10,000 members of Jvzoo. And that was huge. And it just snowballed from there.
Perception is reality.
Perception is reality.
And it was a brilliant stunt, marketing gimmick, whatever you want to call it. It had the effect you wanted, because how many affiliates do you have now?
A lot.
There are, and we're not going to reveal numbers, but you do reveal on your homepage a running tally, just like ClickBank has done over the years, of how much you have processed, and you're quickly approaching $150 million.
Sure, it should be $150 million by the end of the week, which is phenomenal. And that means $150 million was generated by members. That's revenue we're talking about, was generated by the members of Jvzoo in just over 3 years. So that is an amazing feeling to put together a company that really only makes money when its members make money. And seeing them make $150 million it's over the moon.
It's spreading the love around. In fact, I'm seeing the feels come your way because they're spreading the love to you. And want to welcome those of you who are joining us for this edition of the Joel Comm Show. This is E. Brian Rose, the co-founder of Jvzoo.com. And in just a minute, we're going to open up the seats. There's 2 more seats that are available on Blab.im. And if you've got a webcam and a microphone, if you want to ask questions of EBR, then we can do that. And awesome. Your name, E. Brian Rose. And now it's not like T. Harvecker, where the T stands for the, and you just made it up. E is actually your first initial for your real name.
E stands for awesome. Yeah.
E stands for awesome. That's perfect. We'll just leave it there. Let people demystify it, or maybe we can build a mythology around that for you.
I got some feels when I said that. So
yeah, you did. Before we open it up, I want to encourage people on Blab. If this is your first time, welcome.
I love here to feel thing. Can I feel myself?
Yeah. You can't.
I can't feel myself.
I give you permission to feel me.
After the Blab, I'll feel myself.
Here, I'm going to say.
I just got like 20 feels for saying that.
I'm going.
I'll just talk dirty for the next hour and break records.
I want you guys to hear me. Live streaming is the new blogging. All right, back 10 years ago, when a lot of people were getting into blogging and building a platform. Those who got into it early were able to build a following, people like John Chow, Darren Rouse, myself, and create a platform that we could use for years to come. Live streaming is that new platform. And so pay real close attention to Meerkat, Periscope, Facebook Live, Blab. There's some really great opportunities to share your content here and create what EBR calls expert fame. So talk a little bit about what that means. What's expert fame?
Well, expert fame is basically the ability to walk into any niche and people look at you and say, wow, that is the go-to person. That is the famous person in our niche. And, you know, for some examples, you know, who do you think of when you think of like tools and home repair?
Yeah, well,
who do you think of?
Who do I think of when I think of tools? Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Who is Tim the Toolman Taylor based off of? Bob Vila.
Bob Vila.
Yeah, Bob Vila is that type of expert, famous person. Tim and Tony Robbins, that kind of expert fame in his field, and so many others. You know, Joel Olson,
Twitter. Sorry,
there's Joel Comm is the expert in Twitter. I think you wrote a book called Twitter Power. 3 of them. Oh. Yeah, see, that's expert fame right there. So expert fame is basically what you want in no matter what your business is. Even if you're a real estate agent, you know, notice something about real estate agents. Real estate agents put their picture on everything. Am I right? I mean, they put them on park benches, on buses. They put them on every one of their ads because each one of them is trying to get that expert fame. So when they walk into a room, they say, hey, that's the big realtor from our town. That's expert fame. And you can take it as far as just, you know, being recognized at the grocery store, or you can take it as far as being recognized on television and everything in between. And personally, I think the best place to be recognizable is on the internet because it reaches further than any television network in existence.
Well, and the playing field has in many ways been leveled because all we need is an internet connection. This platform I'm using right here is free. Sure. Meerkat is free. And if you don't have a blog, you could even set one up, you know, for free at WordPress or Blogger. This is not difficult to do because then it comes down to creating content.
That's right.
And so what I want to do is I'm going to unlock the seat. And if somebody has a question for EBR or myself, then go ahead and claim the seat and we'll bring you on here and you can ask the question, and don't be afraid. We're only recording this for all posterity. And there's Brett Gaida. I don't know if you know EBR or not, Brett, but you're about to. He does a great podcast called Where There's Smoke. And it's one of the few podcasts that I actually listen to regularly. How's it going, Brett? Your mic is either not on or it's really low. Everybody send feels there.
Luckily, though, I read lips, so
what he said is, and this is a podcast professional that we have here. And if somebody else has a question, feel free to jump in.
I want him to ask a question without the mic. Ask a question without the mic. I read lips for. Why, thank you. I know, you know, I just got a haircut and you look good too. Thank you.
Turn on the mic, Brett. I want to hear your voice. I don't read lips. But I do see the power is on. The mic is not on. That's the issue that we're having.
Power is on.
Good. Flip the switch. So there's an issue with Google Chrome that you have to go into settings and pick what your default camera and mic is, which turns into a little lesson for all of us. I saw Rich Willens there a moment ago. Brett, while you working on that, Rich, can you jump back on and jump into the seat there? Because we are in need of a horrible joke. And I'm sure
I was just going to say, Rich brings jokes where he goes. So
I'm sure
be very careful.
You would provide that for us. And Brett, just check your settings there in Google settings in Chrome. And while you're working on that, we're going to bring Rich Willens on. And right now he's just an egg. He's just a vibrating egg, but he's a good egg. You know, and there's a learning curve here.
This is getting likes already, or feels.
Yeah, we've got feels, we've got learning. This is we're right now what you guys are experiencing. This is what we call cutting edge. Hey, Rich, how you doing?
You know, Joel, I'm great and getting better now that I've run into you. You make my day.
That's why I'm here. I'm here to brighten your day, and I know that you wouldn't have taken a seat unless you had something really important to say.
Well, I do. I want to make an announcement. I finally divorced all of my wives. I know that was big of me.
You finally divorced all your wives?
Yeah, that was big of me.
That was big of me. You know, whenever Rich tells me a bad joke, I have a standard response. You need to shelve that one. Shelve it.
Yeah, okay. I want to talk a little bit about Brian Rose and when he was a television star back in the day. I kind of witnessed that. I worked with him, actually interviewing Jennifer Tilly and our friend Dean Cain. Do you remember Superman?
Sure.
That was an awesome a guy to interview. But I remember asking Jennifer Tilly and Eric, I'm sure you'll remember this. I asked her if she shaved her legs at every final table she had, and she asked me, Are you a real journalist?
I do remember that, and she did say that to him. Yes.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, you know, everything that EBR said about the poker industry was very true. He was one of the innovators when bringing these magazines in. And, of course, it spawned a bunch of different magazines. And we've talked about this often and how affiliate marketing is so important to collect those names and actually mail your list. And it's like you said, you know, EBR lost out on tens of millions of dollars, not only playing poker, but he lost out as well by not collecting those lists. So,
but he's making up for it now.
You know what? He's a very good gambler. He's very good to the casino. I think this month he paid the light bill at the Golden Nugget, and they're appreciative. We play poker together here in Biloxi every once in a while. You talk about competitive when it comes between you and him and I. We're at the poker table. I mean, there's no friendship there. We try to beat up each other, and I have to say, he might be just a little bit better than me.
It's the philanthropist in me, you know. I like to give to the community, and I just I took a lot of my good fortune and built a wing at my local casino.
Yes, and it's called the It's called the EBR Cashman Wing.
All right. Hey, Rich, looks like your bandwidth is suffering a little bit. Everybody give Rich Willen some feels because we're going to hit the ejection seat on him in 4, 3, 1. Oh, and he's gone just like that. See the power of the host.
Now he's as quiet as the laughter was after he told a joke.
Love it. Anybody else got a question here for EBR? It's not every day that you get to talk to a guy that has built a business that's generated $150 million in revenue in 3 years. So anything business related, self-promotion, marketing, go ahead and take a seat. And Rich, you're fun, dude. I enjoy having you here. So while we're waiting for somebody to come in, talk a little bit about the book. Sure. That is coming out and where people can pre-order it and what kind of wonderful extra special perks they get.
Well, right now, we haven't announced any of the awesomeness that's going to come with the book, and that's about 2 weeks away. But right now, in order to get that awesomeness, you know, it's only a select few that take some action right away that are going to even know about the awesomeness. And just go to the website. And that website is millionairewithinbook.com. That's millionairewithinbook.com. And you can see a great video there telling you all about the book, as well as a little opt-in box. Put your email address in. This is not a spam email address. This is just about the book, and we're just going to tell you about some really cool things that are about to come up, and you can be the first to jump on board. And you're going to want to be one of the first ones to jump on board because those are the only people that are going to get all those cool perks you just talked about.
This is a different kind of book, and I know because I've read it. You actually asked me to write the foreword for it, and this is not your typical business book. this is stories of basically your beginnings, your humble beginnings, and some of the stories are very colorful. Besides the poker stories, because you've seen some of the dark underbelly, as it were, of the internet. And so I think people are going to be really entertained by this. Oh, and thank you, Vincent posted in the chat the banner where you're looking dapper and pulling back. While we're waiting for Brett to figure things out here, go ahead and claim a seat, Brett. We'll test that while we're waiting. I want to also say that you and I are privileged to have an opportunity to speak together soon at a little college. I think it's a community college.
Mm-hmm. In Cambridge, Mass. Yes.
Called Harvard.
Yes.
Yes. So we're actually yourself, me, Brian Kramer, Mari Smith, and Michael Drew are having the opportunity to be social media world changers. Social media.
I got to tell you that I speak on a lot of stage. I love speaking. I love doing public speaking. I love talking to crowds. That's just something. It's like a drug to me. I get a high off of it. And I have a lot of fun doing it, and I try to make people laugh. But there's something about this one. One thing I've never had stage fright. That's just not the kind of person. I worked in radio and television, and I don't get stage fright. But I have stage fright about this one, and I'll tell you why. There's a couple of reasons. I grew up in the greater Boston area, and over my shoulder was always Harvard. And we would skip school when we were kids. And, while the good kids were going to school, we'd skip school and we'd take the T down to, which is our subway system. We'd take it down to Harvard Square. And we just hang out with all the kooks and the weirdos out there. It was, liberal central, and, the Mohawks were out there. And it was a crazy place. There's people preaching out in the middle of Harvard Square. There's people standing on soapboxes, just yelling all kinds of political crazy. It was just a crazy place to be. I loved it. We would walk onto Harvard Yard and just I'd look at this building, and it was just mesmerizing when I was in high school. And, there was no chance I was ever going to go to school there. Not a chance in the world. But to be asked to come back and speak there is the most amazing thing, to me. And I went out and told all the guys I went to high school with. And so I'm going to have a lot of local friends there. And it's just crazy feeling to be able to say that you have spoken at Harvard University. And Joel made this happen. And so bravo.
So Saturday, September 12th, if you're in the Boston area, if you're going to be there for inbound, or if you just want to come out, tickets are free. Go to socialmediaworldchangers.com. And I want to welcome Brett Gaida to the mic.
Hey, guys.
And
how are you?
All right. Got some echo.
Let's see if my computer, it's not coming out of my speakers. So.
You sound good now.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm many things, but I'm not a quitter. So we made it work.
So as I was saying, Brett's got a great podcast, and we should do a show just with you, Brett.
Which makes sense that he didn't know how to work his microphone.
Of course. Right. I got people that do that.
So, Brett, what do you think of this platform?
Well, first off, let me just say that about 10 minutes ago, I was about to hop in the shower, and I wasn't even wearing a shirt. And then I saw Joel's tweet, and I went, oh, he's on Blab. That's interesting. I said hey to him, and the next thing you know, he says hop on. So I threw a shirt on. So this is a perfect example of diving in, as you like to talk about, Joel, right?
Got to be spontaneous.
Yeah, man. So it's the first time I've been on it. I watched one of your video replays that you did, I think, earlier this week, and it really caught my attention because I'm not so hot on the whole Periscope thing. I actually am in your camp. I like Meerkat better as far as just the interface, and it's a little classier, and I feel like the people that are on Meerkat are actually really engaged, whereas Periscope kind of feels a little bit like a bad reality TV show to me. I think you called it the Walmart of live streaming, Joel, which I liked.
You read my blog post today.
I did read your blog post today. Yeah. So, but this is cool because, and as you said in that post, I mean, here we've got kind of a blend of, of what's going on with Periscope with Google Hangouts. You can bring in multiple people. And as a podcaster, this seems a lot more interesting to me because I am not I'm not going to say I'm not a narcissistic guy because I think I probably am, but I'm not a narcissistic podcaster. Yeah. I'm not a narcissistic podcaster. I'm not one of those guys who turns the mic on and talks for an hour. We do edits. We bring in clips, music, videos, guests. Like, it's very dynamic. So for me to just talk to people on Periscope. Yeah, I'm sure they're interested in it, but it seems not quite that interesting to me. To me, being able to create a conversation like this seems really cool to me. So I'm intrigued.
Well, and this is something that we could do with Google Hangouts, but for whatever reason, Hangouts never appealed to me to use to do this type of thing. I do.
Google has never been cool. Google will never be cool. Google is something we need to find things. It's just not cool. And any product they put out there will never be cool. Google Plus, Google Hangouts, it's just not cool.
Well, and they keep blowing it. They keep trying things and failing. And like a couple of years ago, they launched Google Helpouts, which was a platform.
That wasn't cool either.
Well, I thought it was pretty cool. I built a product around it. And but they failed. They actually booted me because they didn't like how I was marketing and talking about their service. And then they went ahead and failed. And it just doesn't work right. And look who is in the house. It is Mr. Dan the Man Nickerson. Everybody give Brett some feels over there while we welcome Dan to our blab.
Well, I'm getting felt up over here. This is exciting.
Yeah, it's kind of nice,
Who
right?
needs a shower now?
Well, you might, depending who feels you after this is over. So, you know what? I think that they should really change the word feels on it to applause. Feels just opens the door to so much inappropriate connotations. And I don't know that that's what they're really going for.
Yeah, and frankly, I've never understood what these.
It's like, yo, hit me with your high fives, baby. So one of the things that you can clearly see is that there's still some issues with bandwidth. Sometimes people locking up, and maybe that's why they've got it limited to 4 people right now on Blab. But the team at Blab, including Shaan Puri and Mitch, I can't remember Mitch's last name right now, but they're popping on to these Blabs all the time to talk to people and to find out what it is they want to see. So they're developing some really cool stuff.
I think Dan's having some internet connection problems. I think Brett is now a silhouette. And, Dan Nickerson, I was looking forward to him. He's a funny guy. He showed me some pictures of himself when he was a younger man, and they looked pretty much just like this. That is a
Rick
young
Dick. Yes.
I mean, I'm sorry, Dan Nickerson.
Dick Nackerson.
Dick Nackerson.
Smack.
Rick Rolled. That's my new name for him.
He says that's very funny here in the chat. Look, Brett, I'm going to go ahead and open your seat for a moment. And if you're able to get back in, let's see if clicking that helps Dan. Again, realize that what you guys are participating in here, this is cutting edge. This is new stuff. And this is going to be big. You heard it here from a guy who sees the beginning of trends. This is, as they get the bugs worked out here, which is why it says up in the upper left corner, of course, I might be pointing to the right on your screen, Blab Beta.
E.T.
Right?
Phone home.
Send home. So I think it flip-flops. It's mirroring because I'm seeing Futz Doog Odd on the screen here. Are you seeing it forward?
Look, it says what it says to me. Do good.
So it's reading forward. But your image is flip-flopped on the camera, but in the recording, it looks right. So I'm looking at you, EBR, and I'm seeing the microphone on your on your right side.
Which is exactly where my microphone is.
But it's showing up on the left. I know it's on your right
you
side.
You are blowing my mind right now.
You're turned this way.
Wow, I'll tell you what, if I was in the audience right now, I would be so entertained by this conversation that I would not know what to do. The rest of the day would fail in comparison to this left-right philosophical conversation we're having.
I know. So here's what I want to do.
For that.
Throw me some feels for the philosophical conversation. Now, if you're like all good entrepreneurs, you have some toys at your desk.
Oh, yeah.
What
you want to know what toy I cannot get enough of?
Is it battery operated?
I always have 2 balls at my desk. And I can't stop touching them. No.
And now people want to feel you.
I went to a conference about a year ago in San Francisco, and I got this little squeezy thing that I've become like addicted to it. I'm squeezing it. I'm banging it against the wall. And, dropping it. I'm breaking stuff, but just constantly. I've got that. I need to fidget with things. I have terrible ADD because I probably drink 40 of these a day. So I will fidget with whatever's in plain sight. Even if it's a tape measure, I'll just sit here and go, just playing around with a tape measure. I always have to have something in my hand. So
I have multiple toys as well. Of course, I have the Meerkat is always here with me. See, you'll recognize him from the Meerkat app. Just like that. I have my flying monkey is always here.
I've seen videos with that monkey.
And then there's the cat paw, which I picked up at the toy fair in February. And when they gave me one of these, I thought that is the weirdest thing ever. And yet I've gotten so much mileage out of the cat paw. It's got a little trigger on it right here. And when you do the trigger, if you do it slowly, hear that? It's a nice, gentle kitty cat. But if you push it hard, wow. So, needless to say, I've gotten a lot of mileage out of the cat paw. Aw, EBR. But I think that's part of, the deal is entrepreneurs having fun and just being real. When we were growing up, back in the old days, we saw success as a corporate thing, right? We saw they tell you go to school and then you go work for a company, and they wear suits and ties and they're businessmen with briefcases, and that's what success looked like. That's what we thought going to work and earning a living looked like. But then we come out of college and we're like, wait, the world has changed. I'm curious, what was your perception of what you thought it would look like versus what it's actually turned out to be?
Oh, I thought the same thing as you. You go to college, you come out, you put on a suit and a tie, and you go work for somebody that hopefully likes you and promotes you. And if you do a good job, you'll get your 20 years in and get a gold watch and have the rest of your life on a pension. That's what I thought it would be. That's what I thought the idea of success was. But that was when I was real young. I guess later in my high school days, I started to realize things were a little bit different. And I started, the entrepreneur in me came out, and however I could make a buck, building small businesses, I did that. So I started having a mindset change right around the same time I started drinking beer. So I think that the two might have something to do with each other. Yes.
That's awesome. Hey, I want to say goodbye to Brett. Thanks for jumping on the show. Hi, Andrew, and hello, Dan Nickerson.
I love how Dan is actually looking at us.
Yeah, he's like, it's the story.
Dan, you look like an air traffic controller today.
Okay, so your mic
Can you
is...
guys hear me? Of course it isn't.
Oh, there you go. Point your camera down.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we hear you. Point your camera down. There we go, because we want to see what shirt you're wearing.
I get that a lot. I get to point your camera down a lot.
So for those of you that don't know, Dan Nickerson and I have been friends for many years, ever since he came out with a product, I want to say in 2005. Actually, he wrote me, he told me that he really enjoyed my AdSense book, and we got to corresponding. He came out with a product, immediately had a bromance with him, and when I met him at an affiliate marketing seminar, I gave him a big hug, and he almost withdrew completely. And if there was Facebook at the time, he probably would have unfriended me. But I ended up bribing Dan to come to Colorado and work for me for a number of years as my vice president of ideas, because Dan has some ideas.
You mentioned you said the words "he came out" like 5 times in that.
Well, I was trying to be subtle.
Yeah.
But if you're going to point it out to people, the truth is out there now. What are you going to do?
That's true.
So
Hey, it's good to see you guys.
yeah,
You, Dan.
you as well.
I'll see you in
And,
September.
Dan, while you were trying to connect, I'm sure you didn't see. I showed them a early high school
I
picture
saw
of
them.
you.
I saw.
Oh yeah, he heard.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Dan, are you going to come to Harvard?
Yeah, I'll come to Harvard again. You know, I'll go to Harvard again.
Well, we've all been to
Yeah,
Harvard.
September 12th. Yeah.
Yeah, September
Free
12th.
tickets?
And yeah, for you, they're free.
Yeah.
Yep. Just
I'll
go.
do
So
the,
we have a head count. Just go register at the site and get the Eventbrite ticket. But anybody who wants to come, it's free. It's a student event, and so there's no charge at Harvard to do that. And we are doing it out of the kindness of our hearts. And why else are we doing it, EBR?
Expert fame.
Expert fame, baby.
You know what? Everything you do in life is for a reason, whether it's for charitable reasons, whether it's for love reasons, or whatever it's for, financial reasons. And when you can combine them all together, that's when you have an amazing life. And this is one of those things where you're actually helping people out, but in return, you're getting help as well, because it is a great resume item to put out there that you were a keynote speaker at Harvard, and it is a chance to get our names out there and into a different segment of the marketplace that we might not have been able to reach prior to doing this event. So it is a give thing, and but you can also take when you're giving, and that's. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. That's how I feel with everybody that I put on a show for, that I put on a presentation for, or that it becomes a customer of mine. This is a give and take relationship. We both benefit from this.
Absolutely. Hey, I just noticed that we have a member of the Blab team that is online with us now, Blab Brittany. And Brittany, if you're able to, I would love for you to grab a seat here so we can talk Blab. We can blabber about Blab in the remaining time we have. So if you're able to do that, go ahead and grab that. Meanwhile, Dan Nickerson, share some.
I was just going to ask, well, when I'm at Harvard, do me a favor and ask me a question from the audience. That way I can say I spoke at Harvard too. All right? Because it works both ways.
Hey,
that
guys.
We will be so good. Hi, Brittany. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. So you're an official blabber?
Yeah. That's where I am. I hope you can't hear anyone around me.
Wait, there's a little bit. It's
right.
fine. I'm Joel. There's EBR, and there's Dan over there, and we're glad that you're here.
Cool.
This is a great platform.
Awesome. I'm stoked you like it. I've been lurking around.
How long has Blab been in existence?
There's a lot of dogs in here.
There's dogs? Wait, where?
There's dogs in our office today. So we've been around for about 2.5 months in a functioning state. We came up with the idea around like 3.5 months ago.
And how many employees are there now?
There's 12.
Are you funded? Did you get venture capital funding or self-funded? How did you?
So we're self-funded by Michael Birch. So he owned Bebo, and we were the original. Well, we're the remake of Bebo that's coming back, and it wasn't really taking off the way we thought it would. So we decided to. We actually got kicked out of the office for 2 weeks by our CEO and CTO are sitting right over there. They kicked us out.
Turn the camera. Can you turn the
It's
camera?
a monitor, but here you can lurk on them.
Hey guys, tell them we're watching.
Zoom in on the whiteboard. I want to see what they're writing.
I can't even read it. It's very tiny. So
Mastermind.
We got kicked out, and
I just saw that.
So we could act more like a startup. So we have this big office, and 7 of us were not allowed to go here. So we were working in coffee shops, bars. We actually had Neo down the street kind of let us squat there for a week. And we came up with this idea and came back to pitch it. The only thing that was really different in the original idea was we called it Rihanna. And it's on air backwards. And it was the one thing our team we came back, they were like, that's disgusting. We're not calling it that. So we fought for it. We're like, isn't it like so bad it's good though? Like no one's gonna be Rihanna-ing.
No, it's bad.
So
yeah, it's bad.
Brittany, what are your plans to monetize this? When are you going to start charging us to use this platform?
So it took YouTube years before they started monetizing and like putting ads on videos and stuff. And I feel like it'll function very similar to that. In maybe more of a way where you can monetize your own content. So you can kind of find unique, creative ways to monetize what you're doing while keeping the platform open and public. So we don't have, we're not really thinking that far out. Right now we're focusing on building a product that people want to use and making sure that doesn't, as soon as you start thinking about monetization, the product changes. And we want to make sure we build a really solid product that you guys love and enjoy without any thoughts of kind of how to make money, because then things get less fun. And then I have to wait 12 seconds so you guys watch some dumb Clash of Clans video when I jump in. Like, it's
about content, right?
Yeah, it's all about content.
So speaking of content, for the empty seats.
Yeah.
I just put a placeholder image on the empty seats, and there's your thing. And whoever is doing it can pay. Well, I'm saying you could pay to have your brand on an empty seat. Simple as that.
Yeah.
There's the empty seat.
This is sponsored by Empty Seat. Yeah.
So, Brittany, I want you to do something for me, please.
Yeah, what would you like?
Would you mind going and getting a dog and bringing it on camera? And while you're doing that, Lanmi Stankovic has a question for EBR. How to deal with a lazy partner who never finishes his tasks in time or at all?
I know who that is.
Uh-oh. So this is actually a directed question. You don't want to answer? Is he the one?
He's the one, yes. The one I've been telling you about.
Got it. Well, we'll just skip by that. So I saw the dog, but I didn't really get a look at the face. I was hoping you would pick a puppy up and put it in front of the...
That's funny. Wait.
Brittany, I think I lost your audio.
That dog weighs 150 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I have a fancy new mic now, and I forget that there's buttons on it.
So Brittany, do you need somebody to tell you how to use Blab? Because you seem to be having problems.
No, I did have a Blab session where people could teach me how to use my microphone yesterday, and that was very effective.
Can you go over and get you said the CEO is at the whiteboard, right?
Oh, he's right next to me.
Could you bring?
Yeah, tell him I'm on here, and we want to have a. Can you take your seat for a second?
Yeah, I can actually hop off. He can jump on from his screen.
Okay. Because we have questions for him, and we're kind of a big deal.
I think Joel just fixed his hair. He's like, the CEO.
I did. Well,
all right, guys, I'll hop off.
Thank you, Brittany. And she's gone. And we're going to hang out here a second longer because the seat is going to be occupied by the CEO of Blab. And I know both EBR and Dan, you guys might have.
I think it would be funny to find out that Brittany actually worked for like 7-Eleven or something like that. And she was in the back just pretending she worked for Blab.
Yeah. So Shaan Puri is just jumped on, and he's going to claim a seat in a moment. And there he is.
But wouldn't you guys pay for an open seat ad? I mean, it just says open seat, and everybody's looking at this thing that says open seat. So you just have a banner that is in that space.
This open
someone
seat
claims a seat.
Brought to you by 7-Eleven.
Hey, Shaan, how you doing?
How are you?
Good. So meet E. Brian Rose over to my left or right, and Dan Nickerson here. And this is Shaan Puri, the CEO, correct?
Yes, right. We can do the fist pound up top here.
Boom, boom,
boom. Come on, Brian, don't leave me hanging. There we go. And then, Dan, we got to do it. It's mirrored, so you got to go the opposite way you think.
I did it right.
Is that going to be something that's changed in an update that you can see what we actually look like?
Yeah, so we're going to play with it because it's a little disconcerting when I raise one hand and it goes the other way, right? So we're going to figure out which one is more disconcerting.
Well, I want to be able to Brady Bunch it so that I know if I'm looking here and he's looking at me, that I'm actually, oh, hey, what's going on over here?
Right now, it's just the unintentional comedy of you pointing somewhere and it's the wrong person every time. And but the whole audience knows you're the only one that doesn't realize what you're doing.
Well, my shirt to me says Futz Dug Odd. That's what I'm seeing as I look at it, and I'm completely confused.
Mine seems right, so I'm confused.
So here's what I really appreciate. I got an email from you guys today because I'm on your list, and it said in there, tell us what you want to see, right? So we're going to unload on you right now and tell you some of the features we want to see. Guys, what do you think?
I would love to be able to send people to a link, past links right on the screen or something like that. Or how about a buy button? We love that. Or how about, insert your own code so that it can be a buy button or a link or something like that.
Right.
Are you writing this down?
No, don't worry. I've heard these ones. I promise you, if you say something new, I write it down.
Dan, what was your idea about the seats?
Well, I was just saying the open seats. I mean, it's just a graphical space right there. So if you're looking for some place to place an ad, graphical seat, if I'm doing something like that, I would pay to have that space occupied by a call to action banner. It doesn't have to be clickable. It just basically just says something like visit my website here or follow Dan at this address. But it's a big call to action. It can just be the background graphic. It doesn't have to be clickable. Like right there where it says open seat.
Yeah, so
he's like, screw these guys. I have so much better stuff.
He's implementing right now.
Like, don't worry,
sold one for $50.
I created an abort button just in case I hear a good idea. I can go do it right away.
I don't want to hear from these guys.
That would take. That's like a 5-minute implementation where you change the open seat graphic to be a call to action.
Nice. Isn't it lunchtime?
Well, what would be cool to riff on that is if we had control over that. So all four are always showing, but unless they're locked. But we can put whatever images we want there. So I can have a Joel Comm Show image in the place of EBR before I bring him on.
Right.
So what we're going to do is basically, you successful guys are always thinking about how to make money and grow your audience. So I appreciate that. But what we're going to do is we're going to take these boxes and turn this into a platform. So there's developers who are thinking, how can I use this box, right? How can I create, you want to have a goofy soundboard during your Blab. Cool, let me be able to program that box to do anything. If you want to do a presentation, if you want to screen share, if you want to, you can think of the different things you'd like to do in one of these boxes, be it a buy button or something else. So what we're going to do is not pick one, right? For you to say, this is where ads go, or this is where a buy button goes, this is where email field goes, this is where screen share goes. We would have to pick one. Instead, what we're going to do is open up the platform, let developers get creative on it. And so as a host, you might just type, /screen share, and now your screen sharing right there on that little widget. So we'll take these boxes and it can be content that's not a human being. But for now, because it's so early days, you guys are on while it's still in beta. Like Pinterest just now, after 5 years and raising a few $100 million, is putting the buy button on their products, and for good reason, right? You need the size of the prize to grow, so that when you guys are on here, you have such a huge engaged audience and people have made this a part of their habit before you think about, like, how do we monetize this? And so that's most likely the route we're going to take as well.
How many people can get on one particular Blab?
So there's 4 on air, just so everyone can get a word in. That's not technical. Like, technically, we could do many more, but what you could do and what you should do is a little bit different, right? So for a conversation, we picked 4 as kind of the max capacity. Mm-hmm. And then viewing, it's unlimited, right? So we've tried to stress test it, and as you guys bring on more and more famous people, we'll see how big this thing can go. But we'd like to see it be able to scale into the thousands of people viewing something at once. Like I'm planning on using Blab, and after I get off this call, what I have to do is organize this. I'm going to throw a giant tech conference on a tiny iPhone. So basically, I'm going to have the biggest conference in the world happening via Blab, because these can be panel discussions or fireside chats that we're doing right here. But instead of having to fly to San Francisco or New York or Vegas and get a hotel and attend the conference in person, I want people all around the world to just tune in on their cell phone. Mm-hmm. So we're going to stress test this thing when we have a lineup, and it'll be 24 hours straight. So from each hour will just be a different guest. And for 24 hours straight, I'm going to try to get the biggest names I can get to come in and have interesting conversations. And when we do that, we'll see how much the system can hold.
That's good.
I love that. And Shaan, I've got some ideas for you and potentially some opportunities, assuming you guys are open to some potential joint ventures. that can help this thing grow. Is it okay if I contact you on
John,
Facebook?
He's pitching you. Do you see this? He's pitching you right in front of all of these people watching.
No, that's
totally.
We had
closing, I guess.
The most exciting pitch I've had on Blab. I was on a Blab with somebody who was just talking about, like, I don't know, tech news this week, and then this investor came in, and so he's a VC in New York, and he jumped on and he was like, "What the hell is this?" And so I was just giving him a tour. I said, "You can tweet out over here, and you get some feels, give the guy some feels." And so he was digging it, and I just thought, okay, the guy likes it. That's always feels good. But he was like, he's really started pushing on the funding front, and I was kind of flattered. I was like, but we don't need funding right now. And he's like, okay, but what are you doing in 30 minutes? Because I'm sending my partner out to go see you. And so then we had an investor meeting 30 minutes later. It was crazy. But yeah, anyways, Joel, for what you're saying, yes, contact me. Just not on Facebook, on Twitter. Just DM me is the easiest way. So I'll drop my.
Okay. Are you guys in the Valley?
Yeah, we're in San Francisco.
Okay, great. I'm actually going to be out there in October and would love to visit.
Yeah, drop by. We've got the office bar here, so there's good things to do at our office.
And a bunch of dogs too.
Well, those are wolves, giant wolves.
Oh, that's.
Dan, you got any more brilliant ideas?
No, I'm just looking around. I haven't really been on Twitter too much lately, but I'm just looking around, and it just seems it's a little busy for me. I mean, I don't know whether the interface is too busy, kind of stuff, where you can just have different tabs that pop out from the side that show you different things. But no, it's very cool. And I don't know. I think it's one of those things where it has to grow. People have to use it. I don't, I see all the little hand things. I don't quite get that that's just to make people think that they like what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the reason to do something live is not because live streaming is cool. It's because you get immediate feedback. It's like people are in the room with you, right? So if I say something great and I see people giving me feels, right? So I see Jill giving me feels right now. She's not just a view number. Like, I've seen Jill in a bunch of my blabs. So I'm connecting with her even though we've never met. Mm-hmm. I'm also knowing that the thing I'm saying right now is resonating with people. Maybe that's actually an important idea, that what I'm talking about. So what we wanted was, how do you make live is pretty much irrelevant to me. Interactive, now that's my shit. So when people bulk us in with other live streaming apps, I say, you don't really get it. You're being lazy with the comparison. Not because our features are different, but because you don't even understand what you're talking about. When I'm on Periscope and I hit the go live button, what I'm doing, the thing it asks me is, what are you seeing? Because what you're supposed to do is show the world where you're at, and others all around the world can kind of look through your point of view and see what's going on. And it's going to be great for breaking news. It's going to be great for behind the scenes access to things. This is totally different. This is conversations amongst people. And the reason it needs to be live is so that when we are having an interesting conversation, we can actually morph it based on what people want, what questions they have, or how they're reacting to what we're saying.
Shaan, I'm seeing that you can tell a little bird, you can send the Twitter. There needs to be, I think, at least something with Facebook on here as well, so they can share it and make it easy to share. If I'm on one of these things and I think, oh, wow, this guy Shaan is saying some brilliant things, I want to just be able to just click a button and send it out to, my followers on Facebook or my fan page that has, tens of thousands of people on it. That would be pretty awesome.
Well, the problem is, we can say tell a little bird, and that sounds really cool for Twitter. I mean, what are we going to say for Facebook?
You need to come up with a tagline before you put the technology in. So, hey, get the team together, lock the doors. We're not stopping until we come up with a tagline.
Exactly.
Tell Zuckerberg. Tell Mark.
Yeah, tell Zuck.
Tell Zuck.
Tell a little Zuck.
Well, and I'm thinking along those lines as well, because engagement is different for people on different platforms. And while I'm big on Twitter, I have more engagement with my friends, fans, and followers on Facebook. And so I pasted in and actually mentioned you guys in a blog post today.
That's awesome. No, I appreciate that.
I'm going to send you the link. I'll just put it right.
I think we may be a little bit biased towards Facebook in the sense of, like, we're not huge Facebook users ourselves. And, whenever you build something, you always build for yourself if you really want it to be great at first. Over time, you make it more and more accessible and open. And then the second thing is, the backstory of our company. We were Bebo. So we were basically Facebook's competitor back in the day, and, that whole thing. So
get over it, Shaan.
Maybe we're being stubborn for the wrong reasons, right? That's why I got to come listen to you guys talk some sense into me.
Well, there's a big difference between entrepreneurs coming up with creative inventions and marketers. And this is why we see time and again people failing, because look, Twitter is not too far from that as a case study. They've been around for as long as Facebook, but they only have 300 million people, monthly users is a lot. Granted, it's a big number. Anybody would be happy to have it. But compared to Facebook's 1.4 billion active users, what did Twitter do wrong? I'd say it's
after all the fake accounts, 600 million.
Yeah. I think it's in marketing. I think that they're confused about how to market and monetize their service.
That all makes sense. We have our own theories on it, and I think you're definitely not wrong. What we think is that in the beginning of projects, you want to create a mini monopoly. And Facebook actually originally started that way. They said Harvard, and then they said, great, when you get Harvard, now you're going to get Yale, and you're going to get these other colleges. And for how long did they say it's only for colleges? And everybody was trying to get them to monetize on that. They were trying to get them to open up to high school and the rest of the world. They said yes in time. Because forming a small monopoly is very, very powerful compared to just trying to jump and be everything to everybody. And so similarly, if we said, hey, share wherever you'd like, what would happen is the message would get fractured. Now, if somebody's on Twitter and they follow you guys and they see 3 or 4 people tweet out this blab, they're going to check it out because that creates that echo chamber that you really want. Mm-hmm. And so for us, just for the sake of simplicity, but also focus on a single channel, it works at this very early stage. And then, like I said, over time, you think about, great, we have more people who have different needs on different platforms. We need to be servicing them because now we have enough volume where we don't need to just focus all of our right now we have tiny volume. We just need to focus it in one area. When we have more volume, we can actually spread the love a little bit onto the different platforms. So that's my thought process on it.
Mm-hmm. I'll try to say that in 140 characters or less.
Touche.
Well, I like that you guys are self-funded because that gives you a lot of autonomy and freedom to do what you want to do and not be beholden to investors.
It's huge, right? Like it's not just it's not my funding, it's Michael, but me and Michael see the world the same way, and that has a huge benefit, which is, look, a lot of what we're doing here is a little bit outlandish, and the way we plan on going about this, I mean, one quick example is our company will never be bigger than 30 people. We made a statement from day one, which is the magic of what we do is based on the work of small teams, and people laugh, people question why is that the case, but we set up our company with certain beliefs about how we want to do things, and most investors would not get behind what we're going to do. Some do, some are excited, but the luxury we have is that we don't need to tell somebody else why it's going to work. We can actually just put our own effort behind our beliefs, and we'll see how the cards play out, right? So that freedom, that autonomy.
So don't you think you're kind of bottlenecking yourself by saying I'll never have more than 30 employees?
You can call it flab when it's over 30, and then slab when the company folds.
Look, Instagram had 11 or 12 people when they sold to Facebook for $1 billion, and they were servicing millions and millions of users every single day. And it's getting easier and easier, right? Software is a lever, that, where a small team, I mean, this whole thing from idea to today, it's been just under 3 months. Mm-hmm. And our team has 6 engineers on it. So what you can do with a small team when you have the right people, like the right engineer, there's a reason they call them the 10X engineer, is because that work of that one person is worth what 10 other people could do if you have the right people in place. Mm-hmm. So it's not been a bottleneck for us yet. If it ever becomes a bottleneck, like I said, we're self-funded. We reserve the right to change our mind. But today we're thinking about this because we want to build a company that has certain traits. And the 30-person thing is not just an arbitrary limit. It's because we've done this, merry-go-round once before with Bebo, and we learned what was most successful and then what was also most fulfilling. And how do you balance fulfillment and success at the same time, right? How do you achieve, but also enjoy what you do in the workplace and the environment? I didn't do this to run a big company, right? I went to a startup because I enjoy working on small teams and moving super fast. And so maybe the day comes where I'm not the right fit to be the CEO, and I'm happy to pass that off, or we actually decide, hey, we're going to build a company differently than how every other company does it, and we'll see.
What are your exit strategy? What's your long-term strategy here? Do you want to get acquired? Do you want to blow it up yourself? I mean, what are you looking to do?
So I don't know. I think maybe I'm a little naive on this, but I don't think about the exit strategy up front because I don't know anyone who's planned the exit strategy and actually had that work. In the same way that I've done a cash flow statement for a startup, and look, the actual financials never look like what you planned. Mm-hmm. planning is important. You can think about things, where might this go? How might this play out? But like I said, when you have the benefit of funding, of coming from a certain amount of money where you don't need to take the first money that's thrown at you, you can optimize for something else. So what we optimize for is, how do we get in a position where we never want to sell, right? What type of company would I want to keep working for? What would make this product something I want to keep, slaving over? And when you do that, you kind of build your own exit, which is, hey, just keep going, build this company. You love the company. Why would you need to exit? Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean you won't. It means don't plan for that. Plan for building a great company that somebody would maybe want to buy. But if not, you still have a great company at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, EBR, when you look at your company, if the right opportunity should arise to sell someday, you didn't come into it planning selling, but if that should happen, you might do that. And how many employees do you have?
We have probably we have, I think, 5 that actually work for the company, and then we outsource a few things here and there. We are a very small company. We total staff, I think, including all of our outsourced staff, about 13 or 14.
And that's processing almost 150 million in 3 years. So you could see how you could stay lean.
Sure. Yeah. We love staying lean. We could have blown this up. We could have had, 50, 60 employees. We could have 100 employees by now, right now. Mm-hmm. But, we just chose to stay lean. And so I definitely get what you're saying, Shaan.
Well, I mean, if I was looking at your book, right? I mean, automation, how do you make money while you sleep, right? How do you put your money to work for you? How do you build a business that is not a service business where I need to trade hours for dollars all the time?
Sure.
So some people have understood that principle and created businesses that will give them that lifestyle, because what they want is the total package. They don't just want the money. They want the money on their terms, with freedom, with creativity, with autonomy, all those things. And so in the same way, we get that advantage when we build this company, which is, well, we're not in it just to build a really big company. Like, I could get off on saying, man, Blab has thousands of employees, but would I enjoy working at a company like that? Probably not.
It becomes corporatized, and you have to have corporate structure, and you have to have, there's somewhere along the way, there has to be somebody in a suit and tie or acting like the suit and tie. And that's the kind of thing in startups that you want to avoid.
Right. I want to wear my Blab hoodie. I want to sit at my bar, do my work here. And when I want to be able to jump in and engage with users and have a calendar that's open to actually do things like this. And I want to be able to speak off the cuff and never have to run something by, the powers that be to say, what can I say when they ask me a question? What can I comment on?
You want to have keep yourself in a position. You want to have a company meeting where everybody's on one screen in the Blab room.
Yeah, basically.
Well, I think what you said is that we all
30-inch monitor, pixels.
We're all unemployable. There's nobody here that wants a job and wouldn't know how to function in that environment. Honestly, I think if Google or Facebook came knocking on my door like Yahoo did about 15 years ago, offered me a job, I'd be like, sounds romantic in some sense, but I think I would want to throttle somebody in a week because I'm so used to my freedom.
Right. We have a phrase here when we hire, and it's called, is this person fundamentally unemployable? Right? Would another company hire this person? If the answer is an obvious yes, they're probably not the right fit for us at the stage we're in, because we have people who are so impatient, so opinionated, so passionate, so obsessive that they don't fit in with most work cultures, and just go in, be told what to do as a designer, go in, be told what to do as an engineer, or go in and just be a middle manager. So the people we hire, we legitimately ask ourselves, is this person fundamentally unemployable? Like our CTO who built, a lot of what you're seeing here, he doesn't have a college degree, right? He dropped out because he was running his own e-commerce company freshman year and realized I need to be spending my time doing that. So our whole team is made up of people who, you look at things, you say, do they have a chip on their shoulder, right? So we ask totally different questions in the hiring process, which leads to a totally different type of company at the end.
Hey, Joel, actually, you pretty much did that with me. You let me be kind of autonomous in the company, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, until you left me. Shaan, what you're doing is awesome, because have you figured out how many hours a day you're on other people's blabs?
Oh, myself personally, I shouldn't track that, because that will immediately just be a red flag for me of like, what the hell am I doing? Like last night, I'm sitting there, it's 3 a.m. and I'm watching a blab. And at this point, I wasn't even like working in the back. Usually I just have it on while I'm working. And in this case, I was literally just watching like a fan. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool, because if I dig it like that, that means there's probably others who are going to dig it. But B, this cannot be the best use of my time right now. And so I went to bed finally. But we try to measure the total number of minutes watched every day by people, right? So like, I remember the first day when we hit 500,000, streamed minutes of people watching Blabs. I was like, this is incredible, because that's thousands and thousands of hours that, in beta that we have people on here, right? At that time, we did the math, and the average user, this includes people who just come in, bounce out, they just check around and they leave. But the average of all the users was 65 minutes of watching a Blab. Not just on the site, but like watching a Blab. That was incredible to me.
Wow.
That is really cool.
Not bad for a few months. What, 12 weeks in?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not been very long.
Yeah, 3 months, she said, right?
Yeah, just under 3 months.
Yeah, not even 12 weeks. Good.
Hey, Dan, I'm going to bounce you for a
cool.
sec, because I want to bring Kim Garst in.
I'm off.
Give
See you
Dan
guys.
feels.
Yeah.
See you, Dan.
Hey, Kim, grab a seat. Want you to come join us here for a moment. There she is. I know that, it's funny because these things start as, well, I'm going to interview such and such. And then this is the nature of Blab, is that the conversation goes different directions. Hi, Kim. Your mic.
Hey, while she's micing up, Shaan, I got a question for you. So is there here's a suggestion for you. I think some people that are running Blabs aren't going to want to share the number of people in the audience with the actual audience. It's that whole perception that even if there's only 50 people on here, I want my audience to feel like there's 5,000 or 50,000 people on there. And there should be, for the hosts of the show or the Blab, maybe the option of turning that off, or the stats to the actual audience.
It's interesting. So what do you think about that, Joel?
I'm mixed. I hear what he's saying. It strips away some of the authenticity. There is a social proof element to all marketing, that when people go to the main page and they go, what's popular right now? And they're the restaurant on the left that's got no cars in the parking lot, or the one on the right that's got a full parking lot. Who's going to have the better food? Even though you might not wait the one on the left, the one on the right looks, more appealing because social proof says this is where to go. So perhaps the option to turn it on or off is something you might consider. I'm not sure. Kim, what do you think of that?
Can you guys hear me yet?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. I think you're right. I think there's definitely social proof. We tend to go, it's like, we talked about this yesterday. Where do you spend your time on social media or live streaming today, right? Pick your poison, which one, kind of thing. So I do believe that it's definitely, people do pay attention to that. It's like trending topics, right? People tend to gravitate to the full parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the question is, are people going to Blab less likely to jump onto yours if somebody else has got a lot more viewers? And by the way, Kim, do you know E. Brian Rose?
I know the name. Hey, Brian. I know.
How are you, Kim?
Great. Great to see you. I think that people will tend to gravitate initially to the more popular content. It's the same on Periscope, where you're looking at the map, for example, and you don't have a connection point with people yet. They're looking to see who's got the most folks in their Periscopes. Same here on Blab. I think there will be people will pay attention to the amount of viewers. Well, wow, something must be happening there, versus, seeing somebody's Blab that is, got 4 or 5 people in it.
Yes. So my take on it is I understand where you're coming from, Brian, and I hear the points that Joel and Kim made. I think Joel said something very, very important, which is authenticity gets stripped away. And the way I look at things is like, look, in school, I may have been a C- in math and physics, but I was an A+. I was an A+ in theater, right? Because that's what I was good at. And for those who were looking at me thinking, you should really be working on math, part of the way I always viewed the world was, if I'm great at something, I need to be doubling and tripling down in it. It doesn't mean specializing. It means never lose the thing that makes you, you. Mm-hmm. And in this case, I think authenticity, the transparency, is what makes these live interactive platforms so key. So like, if I took any piece of it away, right? If I hid the chat just to make the videos a little bit bigger, well, then I'm now saying that the audience is, you're not actually a part of this, right? Or if I didn't show the audience who else was in the crowd, then they don't have a viewing experience that's social with their friends, or they don't get the signals of this is where the action's at right now. And so I totally get why for creators you would want, we want to make creators as successful as possible. But at the same time, there are certain things that we just said, this is your core. You can't lose the core. And for us, the core is that authenticity, that realness that you feel when, look, there's no filters on our faces. We obviously didn't plan this conversation. And that's why people stick around.
Look at this hair. Absolutely. I did not plan this.
And this is what's my hair. Oh my God. EBR's got good hair. As I think about, actually labeling this a Joel Comm Show, I haven't done anything under that banner since I stopped podcasting a year ago, January. And I saw this platform. I never wanted to do that on Google Hangouts for whatever reason. It just didn't feel right to me. But I'm thinking this is a good place to do it. Now, in the past, a show is typically me and then my guest. But there's something about this that I'm discovering that the topic has moved away from my guest, who, it's kind of like on the Tonight Show. The guest comes and sits in the chair, but then other things happen and they move over, and there's a band and there's other people that come on, or there's shtick, and it's still the same show, and your special guest is still there, but it's now transformed into something more than that. And I kind of like that.
Yeah, and what we're going to do is going to support that. So we noticed this was happening. We're like, cool, these things are free-flowing. They're fluid, that spontaneity. You never know who's going to jump in. You never know where the conversation is going to go, because the crowd can ask a question and totally take us on a tangent. So it's different than saying, let's do a 30-minute podcast, and we're going to hit these 5 topics, and you go first, and then I'll go second, then we'll kind of wrap it up at the end with a recap. That's great for some things. This is new, and it's different, and people are going to figure out how to make content on this platform. So for the live experience, I think you're going to have to embrace the chaos. I think the audience will need to enjoy going on that journey with you. On the recording, what we're going to do is kind of interesting. I think I told you about this earlier, which is while the Blab is happening, you as the host are going to be able to be starring, bookmarking certain moments of the Blab. And it's passive, right? You just need to hit it so that when the show ends, you don't need to go and edit anything, but you have all these little markers you created, and you can label them. You can say, hey, this is when Shaan came in and Convo kind of switched to Blab, right, for a bit, right? We got away from EBR for a moment. And then this is where we recapped, we had a little technical difficulties here. So for a replay audience, they will have expectations set. They'll come in, they'll see, it went on for an hour and 6 minutes. They covered these 7 topics. Mm-hmm. I want to watch that whole thing, or I only want to watch the part where the EBR was talking about his book or whatever, right? Like, they will decide what's important to them. So the live and the replay are totally different beasts, and we're going to make them, ideal for what the users need in those cases.
Love it. I really like that shortly after my Blab, I get a link via email that says download the audio and download the video. Yeah. That warms the cockles of my heart. In fact, I didn't even know my heart had cockles until I got that email.
You wear that shirt that says do good stuff, so it's got cockles. I love what you said, though, Shaan, about I think the at its root, what makes the live streaming video work so well is just that realness. People don't care if you screw up so much. I mean, there's tech issues on almost every scope or blab that I've ever done of some sort. So I think that whether it's not always tech issues, but just the rabbit holes, people get off on a tangent, and sometimes people love those more than they actually love the content. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's going to be, that's what, in my opinion, that's what makes it so real and raw, and why people love it so much.
Now, I got to say, the term feels,
not feeling it?
Well, I am, but it just lends itself to so much humor that you might not want to be having with it. I mean, when I saw the hands, I'm thinking applause is, a hand clap or something, or maybe even a few different icons there because right now you click anywhere on the screen and it does the feels. But if you had a few different icons that people, that were more like buttons that people could click on. Dan's messaging me from Skype saying taps, kudos, high fives, slaps, not slaps. Slaps
is worse, right? I think slaps is worse than the feels. It's almost like, I almost said fill us up yesterday, and I'm like, oh, I can't say that because it goes back to what Joel's saying. So I don't know if it's a perfect term, but is what it is, I guess. But
We just knew it can't be a like and it can't be a heart. And
yes.
So we said,
yeah, true that. True. Get that.
EBR, were you going to say something? I thought I saw a move towards the mic.
You did actually see a move towards the mic, but then I saw all those likes that are those feels that are coming in, and I lost track, and I just said, ooh, pretty little bubbles coming up. So
he was enjoying the feels.
That's where I'm at right now.
He's just feeling it.
Well, Joel, I didn't want to hijack your show, so I hope I didn't interrupt the conversation too much.
And same here. I just was popping in, guys. Literally, I wasn't intending to hijack the show. So
yeah, you both bring great value. Thanks for popping in, Shaan. I'm going to send you a message on whatever the Twitter thing are. Kim, I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Catch you both.
Hey, thanks, buddy. Good stuff.
So we're going to wrap up in just a minute, but if somebody else wants, or maybe we're not, I don't know. EBR doesn't have a life. I certainly don't either.
As much time as you and I spend on Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg has never once popped into one of our chat groups. So,
right?
I kind of like Blab better.
Yeah. So if somebody else
that
wants
very
to
reason.
seat, we've got one seat open here, and Michelle and Lance are popping in. So let's welcome some people. Hey, Lance, how's it going?
Hey, you made a Facebook comment. Every time I've actually tell a little bird it goes to my Facebook, I've not gotten one like it's being buried or something. That's for the last 2 days. Like I'll tweet it out and then it hits my Facebook, but I've got like the last 5. Nobody's even liked one of them yet. And usually I get a lot of likes on everything I post.
Well, we're going to send you some feels here to make up for that, and we're also going to welcome Rich Roberts, Fireman Rich.
Oh wow!
By the way,
I am
I don't
honored.
know if you saw that, Kim, but Kim Garst said that you have a great voice, EBR.
Oh, hey, you have great hair, Kim. Thank you.
All right, Fireman Rich, what's happening here?
It's my tweet. It's my Blab bird. How do you like it?
How are you doing this? What is this voodoo?
Isn't that cool? That's a GIF, and it's very simple. Keep it simple.
So tell us how are you using?
You guys can figure out. It's so simple. It's so simple. You guys come across with very complicated stuff on this social media. You explained it in your books there about Twitter, which I love. I still have to get version 3 along with the new Dr. Seuss book there, and. I just I'm blown away that this is the first time I've been in a Blab.
Wow!
Well, welcome.
Oh my very first Blab view session was you doing the quadcast, which I thought was fantastic. That was
I want to give a shout out. Rich has been in my tribe for quite some time, and he is actually a fireman.
Retired, Joel. I have to put that on the record. I am retired. I'm a retired United States Air Force firefighter.
Well, thank you for your service. We appreciate it.
We need to thank those that are serving now. And when I got out, a lot of stuff that's going on now wasn't going on. So you see a veteran, even I tell you, my greatest honor is saying thank you to those veterans that we see in the malls that have the hats from World War II and stuff, because those are the veterans that they won't be with us much longer.
Fellow Air Force, Rich, what year did you get out?
I got out in 1997.
Okay.
I went active 77 after graduating high school here in New York, and became a U.S. Air Force firefighter. Got out as a volunteer, and I've been retired for about 2 years now. So, and I'm enjoying life. I'm very blessed.
I did 2 years in the Navy.
It's
that's
everything.
Too bad.
No, all the branches.
It was actually for fun. It was like I had work to do. I played basketball for the Navy.
Yeah.
92.
But I'm enjoying myself. I'm gainfully employed. One of the rules I have on this thing called social media, on this thing we call the internet, is not really to broadcast because it's a non-entity. But I'm a viewer. I'm a content consumer, especially anything that Joel puts out there. I love, and Joel is the first big guy that's up on the food chain on Twitter that he accepted me, and I greatly appreciate that, Joel. It's just
I'm food. I'm Twitter food.
Twitter food.
I'm bird food.
But I just took a chance. I just finished dinner here, and I saw that you were all on, and I figure I'd pop in here just to say hello, and I'm on the second day, I guess, on Blab. I really like Periscope. I never got into the Meerkat, and but I have people I know on Periscope. I really am a dedicated Twitter. I'm not a fanbook or a Facebook fan, though I'm on it in a limited capacity. I really like Twitter. Ever since reading Joel's first book and understanding it as far as the power of it and how it was developed initially on a napkin, that just blows my mind to look at where it's at now, and then all the other things that are intertwined with Twitter on social media and stuff. It's the world we live in. It's fantastic.
Come a long way.
It is.
Well, Rich and Lance, thank you both for
okay, I'm going to bow out here so somebody else can have an opportunity. Thank you for.
We'll see you guys. And I want to invite one more person to jump in here as we close out, and that's Ian Cleary. I saw Ian just jumped on, my social media buddy from across the pond. So, Ian, I don't know if this is your first Blab or not, but if you've got your webcam set up and you can click on the seat, would love for you to come join us for a moment. And if you can't, just go ahead and type into the chat window that you're unable to. And as you're kind of like the closing credits. As we get ready to wrap up, I want to thank you, EBR, otherwise known as E. Brian Rose, or Eric Rosenberg, or whatever you go by. I don't know. Some people just call you Brian. If people want to get your book again and pre-order that, what's the website?
The website is millionairewithinbook.com.
All right, I'm going to type that in here. millionairewithinbook.com. Ian Cleary, are you here? Ian says I'm in bed. That's great. That should get us more viewers. Just pull the covers up and hit take a seat, and we want to get in bed with you. There he is. This is great. And I want to introduce you, Ian, to E. Brian Rose, and EBR. Say hi to Ian.
Hey, Ian, your hair's a mess.
Okay, I'm just going to close the door so the kids don't hear me.
Good thing you don't sleep nude.
Yeah, exactly. This is what life.
Ian, is this your first encounter with Blab?
I had actually 2 Blab sessions earlier on today, 2 interviews, and then I done one over the weekend. But I really like it as a platform. I think it's pretty cool, and I love being able to invite people into the session. Hey, Brian.
Hey, good to see you, man.
Do you guys know each other, or is this your first encounter?
We are old friends. We met about 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
It's a close encounter of the Joel kind. So O'Connor Pedrig says, Ian, you sound Irish.
I am. I'm from Dublin. I'm a dub. Yeah. So, Joel, you have to come to Ireland. When was the last time you came to Ireland?
I've never been. Can you believe that? I've never been. And I would enjoy that very much. And so you need to tell me when there's an event over there that way I can write off the trip.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I can make up an event.
Let's make that happen. And I would love to visit Dublin.
Cool. We can call it the Joel and Ian event.
The Joel and Ian event. I like that. Perfect. Well, we didn't want to keep you awake. I just wanted you to pop in. Like I said, you're the closing credits. We've been going for an hour and a half here, and it's time to wrap up the Blab. Ian, do you have any parting words of wisdom?
I don't think so. Other than
no, I do not. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks for popping in, buddy. We'll be in touch.
Okay. Thanks for.
Take care.
Wait, let me try to recreate that. Nope, don't think I do. Nope.
All right, so now you've had your first Blab.
I've had my first Blab, and my first Blab had the CEO of Blab pop on. That was great.
Yeah. So what do you think? Just evaluating.
It's fantastic. I love it. I think that they have, I gave them three good suggestions. I expect to see them tomorrow implemented, and I'm a forever fan if that happens.
Excellent. Rock on. Well, this has been recorded, and
great platform that I can see myself using again and again and again. And
yeah, I think there's something. Tomorrow on the Joel Comm Show, an hour later, Michael Stelzner, the founder of the Social Media Examiner, will be joining me. So those of you that are here now, if you'll go to my channel and click subscribe, you'll get notified tomorrow when Mike is on. Social Media Examiner, of course, one of the most popular social media news and article sites on the web, and it's going to be a great deal of fun, and who knows who else will pop in. So on behalf of myself and Brian Rose, this is Joel Comm signing off. You guys go out there and do good.